sure we're streaming on the gram. I'm gonna adjust the OBS scene just a little bit because it's a little shifted. Okay, that should be good. Sweet. All right, I'm gonna go live on the gram. Yeah. All right, cool. Let's get it. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Culture Shift with Raven50mm, where we are reimagining radio, podcasting by merging the two together for immaculate vibes while also leveraging blockchain and Web3 tools to experiment with monetization and distribution methods. Brought to you by the Legacy Portrait Project and the 50mm Collective. The 50mm Collective is a community of BIPOC, trans, and queer digital artists and allies that work together as we pioneer Web3 and NFTs. The 50mm Collective has a YouTube channel with tutorials and helpful info on how to get a crypto wallet set up and get started with archiving your artwork on the blockchain. The Legacy Portrait Project is a mission-based endeavor aimed at empowering BIPOC, trans, and queer individuals in a world often marked by adversity. The Legacy Portrait Project strives to create a haven for storytelling, utilizing visionary tools like future framing, visualization, and AR technology to uplift marginalized voices. Legacy portraits are still photographs that come to life with video narration, sharing the subject story from their point of view. The Legacy Portrait Project's mission goes beyond capturing moments in time. It's about fostering human connection, advancing social change, driving socioeconomic empowerment, and ensuring the legacy of each subject is forever memorialized on the blockchain. Right now, the Legacy Portrait Project is running a raffle for 3 people to win $1,000 off their first Legacy Portrait. You can sign up for that at legacyportraitproject.com/contact. Okay, let's get into the conversation here. This is a very exciting day, and I know I say that every time we have a guest on Culture Shift here, but it's super hyped to be highlighting these people. Let me give y'all a brief intro to our special guest today, Lizzy. Lizzy is a Canadian-Nigerian self-taught multimedia artist, creative visionary, and filmmaker, majoring in communication, culture information technology, and double minoring in film studies and sociology at the University of Toledo. She also received a diploma in digital communications at Sheridan College. Lizzy is well-versed in the Web3 ecosystem and was the first social media manager at the largest marketplace, OpenSea. When it comes to her art, her work explores a variety of motifs such as expressions of Afro-futurism, nostalgia, and body positivity. These motifs are presented in different ways across different mediums. Lizzy, thank you so much for joining us today here on Culture Shift. How you living? How you feeling? What is good?
Hey, thanks so much. You did a great job. Like, I love a little intro, a little cheeky intro to get through all things. Yeah, like that's basically me. I will say just a little tiny correction because I know the Americans always think everything's in America. You said University of Toledo. I'm like, that sounds like an American university. It's the University of
Oh,
Toronto. Which is okay. No, it's like, look, if you're here and I'm up here and we have two different like places, things happen. So, but I did go to the University of Toronto, and I did all the things in Web3 at a really cool, prominent Web3 marketplace, which was very interesting experience. Artists, yeah, doing that. I like to say I do not keep all my eggs in one basket, and I do a lot. So that's just been me since I was a kid, and we're gonna carry on that torch. Yeah.
thank you for that correction because, like, I literally read Canadian-Nigerian artist, and I'm over here talking about Toledo, Ohio. Like, come on, Raven. Like, that was
No, it's
just like
okay.
a brain, like, you
Yeah,
know?
no, it's like muscle memory in a sense because like if you're very used to specific places, you're gonna be like, oh no, it's probably like I currently am working in a specific company and I just found out that they write Canada with a K. Like, what? But
Wait.
look, culture difference.
So they're, I'm
Yeah,
I'm assuming that they're based in a different country. If you know, okay,
yeah,
okay, 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 I can. We're here to learn. We're here to learn and grow. It.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna get right into the questions here. What sparked your career as an artist?
Um, I think for me, I've always been an artist since I was a kid. I was conceived as an only child, and I kind of grew up as an only child. So arts and crafts, like all of that was always my way of entertaining myself. So I was always molding things, I was always playing with things, I was always building little miniature sets. Like that was what I was interested in, and I loved doing it. And I was given the grace to just like experiment with it. Now, growing up in a Nigerian household, it was like, oh, you're gonna be a doctor. She just loves it, but she's gonna be a doctor. Like, yeah. So I was never really embraced as in like, oh, this could be a great career because as an immigrant parent, you're like, this isn't a career. Like, we came out here to make sure that you settled. So it wasn't up till university when I was in like the science program, like trying, but it just was, I was okay with it, but not in a way that I could apply myself and actually excel because I didn't really care for it. And I think this is self diagnosed, but ADHD, I don't really, things I don't care for, I don't really apply myself. And it just has always been that way. So it was finally like, okay, I need to make a decision on whether or not I want to do this or do something else. So I decided to do something else and figure it out. And that was a whole crazy journey as well. I've always lived life by taking on a risk and just kind of going with the flow of it and having faith that like it will work out. I just have to like do the leap of faith. So I did that, and it finally ended up in a program that kind of merged my artistic senses with an academic program, which was CCIT. I got to do a lot of cool like things. Like I was in like a photography class, I was in a videography class. I minored in film studies, so I was watching a lot of film and analyzing it, and really developing my artistic uh, analytical and then creative space. And that's when I took a photography class, I actually, that was the first time I started painting, because I wanted to take my photography in a different approach. It was a very small class, and I was like, what if I painted like realistic fruits and then I did photography of that and like made it like a multimedia piece? And of course, I had to paint them. And I was like, oh, wow, I can paint. I always used to sketch, but I never dabbled in painting because I was like, oh, that's not for me. But when I did it, I surprised myself and I was like, oh, you can do this. Like, just keep doing it. So I started painting more and I just didn't really stop. And it always tumbleweeded into something else, like getting into digital and then getting into Web3, merging my physical stuff with the digital. During the pandemic, I started sculpting. And there's a funny story with that too, because in university, I had taken I think it was a painting class or it was a drawing 101 class. And I thought I was going to be drawing, but clearly it wasn't. It was very different. It ended up being that I had to sculpt and they wanted us to do other things. And I'm a very stubborn person. So if what I'm not getting is what I didn't sign up for is something different, I'm just like, oh well, I didn't sign up for this. So I didn't do the class and then I ended up sculpting in 2020 when I wanted to, right? So that kind of birthed bodied art form, which they're my little sculptures, they're functional pieces, like incense holders, diffuser holders, but in representation of bodies. And yeah, like I've always just kind of stumbled in my art practices. But yeah, that's like the long version of how I, yeah.
Wow, I love that. Just being like honestly guided into like different different mediums almost like um I thought that was interesting that you had said that you took the photography class and then you ended up painting and discovering this talent within you um of painting. Can you kind of speak to that of how um you you went from photography to traditional painting to digital painting? Can you talk kind of about like that, just like the different kinds of processes and the transition from those like across those mediums?
Yeah, so I've always loved photography, and like just capturing moments. So that was something that I loved to do. And then being able to like really do it more with like a professional camera and actually have prompted things worked out for me. I was taught a little bit of the feedback is wait, maybe I should just talk a little bit lower. No? Okay, hold on.
You're getting feedback on your end.
Yeah, I'm hearing myself.
Uh oh. Because I have my spaces muted. If this, do you think it's coming from the spaces?
Let me do that again. Oh, I just muted myself. So it's coming from me, but from your spaces. Should we like end the spaces?
Yep. Ending it.
Yeah.
Say less.
Okay.
Done.
Yeah.
How's
All
that?
right.
Check check.
Okay.
That's good.
It's perfect. Like I don't hear anything. Okay. So if that didn't work, it's okay. But no, I loved photography. I loved being able to be in a class that all of us were kind of working in. It was like a group effort of like documenting and structural comments on work and actually going working on cohesive projects and like it was very pivotal in a way of like how do you work in a group effort, but how do you also critically critique people's work and also critique your own work. So that moving into then to paint, like it merged into painting because now it was like I'm doing something really really different and people are like, oh wow, I love this, you painted this, but then you also took this, you also there was also thought in how, okay, you're going to paint this but now you're going to make it a photo series. Like what are you doing that's different? Like I went in, like I painted the portrait, but it was a multimedia piece and I used like material to spell out the names of each piece. And the series was called GMO Fruits because my whole thought process behind that was I want to create the most realistic version of this fruit, which is what a GMO is, the most desirable version of fruit. So, like me depicting that on a portrait and trying to make it as perfect as possible was where I was lying in, and I was playing around with each name, like GMO orange, GMO strawberry, and like working with people and them seeing like, oh, you have this talent in you, you should just keep doing this, like this is beautiful work, also allowed me to like have more faith in like doing painting and like actually trying to paint more portraits. Like there's a portrait over there, I haven't finished it, but like actually doing more portraits and like people. And then getting into like digital, well, I was always very excited to do it, I just didn't have the equipment. So
Mm.
I remember I had a client, I did like I used to do so many weird things. I did like lyric videos.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
like lyric videos for artists. So like I would do a bunch of those, and I had an artist, and I remember at the time it was like 20 videos for like 2K. And I remember that 2K I bought like an iPad,
Hey.
and I was like, this is great. They didn't end up using the lyric videos, but I still got the 2K.
Right. Okay. And
Great.
the new iPad. Like, let's go.
And a new iPad, which was amazing. So allow me to buy the newer version of the iPad. I first thing I got was Procreate, and then I just started like playing around with Procreate and like just to me it made sense because it was like paper on pencil on paper, but this time pen on iPad, and it just worked. So me creating things on that was like that same element of painting in a sense. And then I just, I stumbled into Web3 and found a place for that art to exist. But my first pieces were somewhat of my portraits merging in with digital edits to give
Mm.
birth to like a new hybrid form, which is to me how I saw, what art can be on the blockchain when you bring in like pieces that exist in the real world. Like you can just, upload a really crisp image and then put it up and that's the art piece, or you can like do something new to it to give it its own identity. And that's kind of how I approach that. And then yeah, yeah,
Very, very dope.
yeah.
Yeah, I think, you had spoke on that a little bit about how blockchain and the tech we're able to now as artists and creators like really explore and kind of experiment and shift and things like that with our artwork. Is the piece that's on Super Rare, is that your photography mixed with some multimedia editing and things like that? Okay, cool, cool, cool. If you're
that
watching the
that piece is
Go ahead.
That piece is actually me. I had a model era. I had a model era in university when I was just like, oh, I want to model, and I just want to like, but I want to be part of all the creative. Like I never really worked with like professional, like an agency or anything. I would just work with my friends and my photographer friends, and I would come up with the idea, and a makeup artist that is a friend as well. And so that one piece was from a day that me and a friend, she's a makeup artist, so she would just use me as like a model. We'd take pictures and whatnot. So I was like, ooh, what if I like, she had this like diamond. I'm like, ooh, what if I had this diamond and I put it over my head? And it just looked like a really cool editorial image. And then from there, I was like, well, I love how this is me. Like this isn't someone else that I have to kind of like ask and be like, hey, can I do this? And what I had a few people in that way where I used the art where I took the photography and I still was like, we'll figure something else. But because it was me, I was like, well, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So then I did a digital edit to that, which was part of the series of that first series that I had dropped. And yeah,
Beautiful. So cool. I love that
thank
piece.
you.
If you're watching on the live stream, you can see it cycling through some of the art pieces of Lizzie's here, which is so freaking cool. So earlier you had mentioned your faith and how that has kind of like guided you through, you know, progressing as an artist and navigating and figuring some of these things out. I personally am on this like super heavy faith journey right now, like just getting to it in the word and just like that kind of thing. I was wondering if you could speak to how your spirituality and how your faith plays a role and shows up within your not only in your artwork but just like also in your process, because you wear a lot of hats. You're a full-on entrepreneur. You're doing social media. You know, there's a lot of different things, and so how does your faith and your spirituality show up and like help you navigate these kinds of different things?
I feel like when I think about just the load of stress of everything of like being an artist and wanting to give up and or being a professional, being burnt out, or like all the things, doing it all at once, if I don't have like a solid foundation of faith, um that it can be overwhelming. And even in the last year when like the devil was testing me and saying like, here, I'm just gonna like ruin everything for you, I was like, well, I'm gonna have I stood like very strong on my faith that like, God's good. God has me. God is always, I've always gone through some kind of like crazy thing that was like a test to how much you want something, or how hard are you going to work for it, or how long are you going to sit in the uncomfortableness of it before you're ready for that like blessing. And so because of that, I've just really much have always had a very strong faith, but like sometimes it like wilters. So bringing that back and being like more, I would say, being more thoughtful in showing up every day and speaking to God, because that to me is really what's important. Like waking up, like going to sleep, like actually thanking God for taking me to another day, to like be ready for this next day is really what keeps me going. So that's what's helped me in and how I've been able to just like go through the wheel of life.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because as I feel like especially in Web3 in particular, that's not really talked about so much, is just like how we are able to keep, like, what are the tools that we're using to sustain ourselves, to be able to keep going and stay steadfast on the vision, because yo, it is, there ain't no blueprint to none of this, and it's in crypto too. It's just so fast. Like, we think life is fast, crypto life is faster. And so um
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So no, thank you for shedding light on that and sharing that. I kind of want to shift gears a little bit here from artistry to media mogul Lizzie, and talk about social media a little bit. Can you speak to some of the shifts that we're seeing in terms of media and social media with like um themes around the media, and then also like form content and long form content. Just like your insight, there's no like pressure or anything like what's the latest, but just like what you're seeing and what your thoughts are.
Well, I always, because I use so many different platforms, I'm always very curious to see like what's working and what people are trying to change to. And the one thing that, people come back to is long form content. And I would assume it's because like short form content can get, it's like a quick dopamine rush, and yes, it can get you hooked, but sometimes people crave a little bit more depth. Like when I think about using, let's say, TikTok while I'm doing things, I don't want to watch short 15-second videos. I want to watch like a long think piece or something, because I'm doing something and I don't have to keep on going like, oh, because I'm not just mindlessly scrolling. That's for a different time in the day. But like, and that happens a lot. Like if I'm doing something and I want to be able to actually, I'm again neurodivergent, focusing on two things is fine with me. I want something that feels longer form so that I can also do the other thing. But I'm seeing that like platforms are, encouraging longer form. Like TikTok now has brought back 10 minutes, and they brought it, they took it away, brought it, now they brought it back again. And they're encouraging horizontal videos, even though their whole platform is like vertical, because they want people to actually create longer form YouTube style videos. And then YouTube, of course, is trying to take a cut from the short form videos, so they have YouTube shorts. But in my mind, that kind of content comes from TikTok and then is posted to YouTube. So it's not like a lot of people are creating like natively YouTube content shorts for YouTube. They're just kind of repurposing. And that's happened across social media. Like people just repurpose across to make sure that they can capture the most amount of audiences they can. But like it's gonna be this like tug and pull of short form and long form for a long time, just because people are gonna get tired of just those quick little rushes of videos and stuff, and they're gonna crave for a little bit of substance also, right? Like what am I wasting my time on? Am I actually listening to something that is insightful? Am I learning something? Because let's not waste our time watching someone's, I just unboxed like this $15,000 like, you know what I mean? It's gonna be substance. I'm like, how can I get this money? Like, can someone teach me, please? Yeah. So there's a crave for that. There's a crave for, and that's where Web3 can come in, because if people can like actually learn something that can be useful for them, or why learning about this space can really help them in what they actually want in life, which is stability, then that can be interesting too.
Okay, you said a couple of things in there that were interesting to me personally. The TikTok situation, to where you said they're encouraging long form and horizontal videos. You said that they're encouraging, which like I'd be stressed trying to like I'll have my horizontal because I edit in Premiere and stuff, right? And then I'm like, all right, now I got to make a vertical version of this, and so oh. I would actually like to know, what do you like to edit your videos in? If you had to like make like a short to mid form video on Instagram or on TikTok, like I go back and forth.
Two video editors that I'll only ever use.
Oh,
I'll
hit
I'll
me.
say three, but
Okay.
two that I'll only ever use. One of them, the top one being Video Leap, because I've used that for years and I use it on my phone. And then the second one is CapCut, and it's close to being first, just because now they have a desktop version, and that's game changer, because you can get all the things and all the benefits of the mobile app now on desktop. So if you're actually trying to like edit YouTube videos, you can use CapCut, and CapCut has so many cool features that are very easy to use. Like I was taught how to use Premiere Pro, but like to me, that's like brain. It just takes up too much brain space for me to like all the, it's just so intricate, and like sometimes I want a quick edit. I want the thing I want quickly, not that I got to make everything within, which is what you can do on Premiere, right? So CapCut really becomes that like OG, and it connects to TikTok too, because you can
Wow.
connect to sounds that are within TikTok through CapCut because they have a deal. Um, so
Even
it's
on your computer when
very
you're editing,
useful.
you can.
Yeah, yeah, and they have really good templates and really good like uh text boxes, and like all the girlies are using CapCut, and it's actually really amazing. Like it's really good. I like it. And then the last one would be actually just editing on TikTok, because they have a good video editor as well. You don't have as many things, but you still have a lot. Like you have FX sounds and like different things that you can add to. You just can't do as many things. But if you're looking for a quick edit that's simple and easy, like you can't reverse, you can speed up, but you can't do like reversing and play around with stuff. But it's still very, very, very good for quick edits. Like I
Mm-hmm.
will record with an app and then just edit within the app. And yeah,
Wow. Yo, put first of
my top
all,
three.
wait, what'd you say?
So those are my top three.
Yeah, yo, first of all, I ain't even ever heard of Video Leap. That's like new on the radar. So,
Years. I've been using that thing for like maybe 5 years or more.
and so you're
That was the
saying
OG.
Video Leap and CapCut editing in that are easier than editing in Premiere Pro?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Dang.
A video leap you can only use on your phone and your iPad, but CapCut they have the desktop version.
Go ahead and
So
circle that in these notes because that's good to know. And because yo, Premiere, man, you gotta pay
takes a
for
lot
that
of
for
time.
life.
Yeah, and like it's very, I think with CapCut, it's like a one-time payment, if I'm not
See,
mistaken, or it might be a month, but it's like $3 or five. It's nothing
it's some shit
crazy.
people can
Like it's
afford.
not, yeah, and Adobe Suites, though I love it, it's very expensive. So
Word.
I'll leave
Dang.
that to the professionals, like the film, like making movies in cinema professionals,
Yo, facts.
and
Cause like,
anyone else who wants to pay it. I don't know.
dang. Hey, you're
I
putting.
used to use it. I used to use it a lot when I was in school, because we got it for free.
Right.
But after that, I was like, all right, bye then.
Yo, that's real. That's real. Thank you for sharing that. Cause yo, you just put us on. You got a affiliate link that we can, you know what I'm saying? You should be getting breaded the way you just shouted out, you know? CapCut,
Man.
hey, CapCut marketing. You heard it here first. Lizzy putting this on. Go ahead and cut the check. Um All right, I just have a few more questions here for you, Lizzy. This has been an incredible conversation. Thank you for your insight and just knowledge, perspective, putting this on. Um, what advice would you give to someone who is aspiring to be in your position right now? An artist who is killing it, somebody who is, providing and within this new ecosystem, you're really um a beacon for representation, being a black woman, doing your thing, breaking down doors, like you're a big deal. Like I just want to give you some flowers real quick and just like acknowledge like you're a big deal, Lizzy. And so truly, truly. So what advice would you give to somebody who comes across this culture shift episode and is like, "Yo, I'm trying to get like Lizzy, dog."
I mean, I would say you gotta like really, you're throwing your ideas at the wall and seeing if it sticks. I'm still doing that. So when I think about my art, I'm still throwing ideas at the wall and just allowing myself to be an artist, and not making it about I need to be the successful artist, because I think that that removes away from the creativity, which I it took me some time to learn. Like I thought after leaving Open Sea, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be the artist and be like the content creator. But I realized that I love doing those things. So when I put that pressure on having that to be this form of like income that I have to rely on, that isn't the most ideal thing for me. And that because I thrive in doing other things, that I need to be able to find the balance that works. So, that's why for me, like getting into having a job again was really important because I still need to like I love living good. So I need sustainable income. And that's really, really important to me. But I also need to be able to balance being able to do other things. So I had to find that right thing that allowed me to still be an artist, because it was kind of hard when I was at OpenSea because it was
Mm-hmm.
very art focused and I couldn't really do my own art. I couldn't really support my own art. So it was like, it was really hard. So, now I work in the L2 space, and it's more focused on developers and building the ecosystem. So it's very far, not far, far, far off. There's still very an art component, but it's not the main thing. And I can focus on my art and do other things and cultivate that while still also building out this Web3 space in a more like sustainable way. So when I think about the advice, it's really about seeing, throwing ideas at the wall, seeing if it sticks, but also knowing yourself and knowing your needs and meeting yourself there. Because if you don't, then you find yourself struggling. And I definitely was 2023 was it was not good to me. And it was a learning lesson, so that's fine. But that was rough. That was rough.
Well,
Yes.
very thank you for that insight, and you know what I'm saying. Happy that shout out to 2024. You know what I'm saying? Like we made it here, and thank you God for bringing us
I didn't know
here.
how I was gonna make it, but thank you, God.
You know, like we just jeez Louise. Goodness gracious, and you had mentioned. We're not going to get into what happened in 2023 because we're not going to give the enemy all that glory. You know what I'm saying? We're just going to praise God. We made it to 2024, and we're going to keep on moving. Um, you had talked about your time at OpenSea and working there, and like how it was that trying to find that balance of like being an artist and then also working at a crypto art company. Like, can you speak to that a little? Because I had my own experience, being an artist and working at Quantum, and that's an episode for another day. But Lizzy, I would love for you to share, and I also have to acknowledge, it it's a different experience when you are a person of culture, when you are a black person, a brown person, etc., and probably one of the few who are in that ecosystem. And so I just want to also acknowledge that. But can you speak to your experience and um, what you're taking moving forward, like as you progress within this
Yeah.
ecosystem?
I would say it was hot and cold. I loved it for all the cool things I was able to do while I was there and also learn, but I also recognized it as being a place where people kind of only like would want to be around you because there's something that they can gain from it, right? Like I was like the face of OpenSea for a good amount of time, and that's really, really big. So it's like a popularity boost, which to me didn't really, I like never, it never went to my head because I was like, I'm doing some serious work here. I gotta like make sure people are seen. But at the same time, it was like, oh, I want to, Lizzie, can you do this for me? Or, oh, Lizzie, come and be around me. And like little things like that. And then it was like, oh, when you're not there anymore, oh, you don't hear from those people anymore.
Talk
Oh,
about
okay,
it.
cool. So that was a learning lesson of like, okay, you have to remember that a lot of people are only going to be around when they just need something. But how do they show up for you as well when, you're either going through it or you're just not doing what you were doing before? Like, do they actually care about you as a person and what you put out there in the world? um so that's something that I learned. But I did some really cool things, and I got to go to cool places, and it was a really good experience in that sense. um and now it's like, okay, I got to do other things now that is also really big and important. And even if it's not the most popular thing, like I to me it's really, really big and important, and that's what excites me. So I'm motivated by that, not like, oh, do how many people care enough? Like, oh my God, do they see me do? I don't really care. I'm just like, wow, there's some really cool things that we'll get to do, and I'll get to help build and showcase about this product list. So I'm more excited about that.
Well said. And yeah, to be honest, we ain't rocking with OpenSea like that over this way. The only reason they even got mentioned on this show is because of Lizzy. So I just gotta say that.
No, I have no hate. I have no hate to OpenSea. I'm just like, well, when I was in my era, it was great. I don't know about now, but like, you know, good luck to everyone doing what they're doing.
It's
Um,
yeah.
but yeah,
Let me calm down because there's been some. I've had some friends who have worked at some of these Web3 companies, and you can tell when they're not there anymore. You can even if it's just the internet, even if we're online, etc. You can feel it, and that's all I'll say about it. So,
yeah, that's the black effect. Like I would say that the reason why so many things are so good is because like I was literally the face. Like like
look
when
at
you
this
think platform
face.
wise, how many face
Hello.
card never declines.
Yeah, I'm
But
like,
at the same time,
where
but
is
at the
the?
same time, not a lot of platforms like were engaging in ways that had someone that was somewhat of a spokesperson. And realistically, I'm like, I should have got a bigger check for that because we used my likeness and my likeness did some
Please.
things.
And now,
So
yes. Yeah, hey, I don't want to get too carried away, but I'm glad you said it because,
yeah,
like, truly, like, I think as we come into this next bull cycle, this bull market or whatever, I really am feeling and starting to see more artists like step into who they really are and like own that and be like, you know what? Yeah, my likeness is a thing. You know what I mean? Like my personality, who I am, this is all a package deal. And my art is like the cherry on top and just part of like the vehicle that's driving this kind of this shift and this change. So own that. I'm in agreement with you. They should have definitely cut you a check, and we're gonna move on. But now we know moving forward, the price has gone up to work with Lizzy. You know, so
the price. And the price has gone up. I gotta say I am very happy where I'm at. So that's good. That's good. I pray for that shit. So God answered my
amen.
prayers.
Exactly. Always coming through, faithful. Um,
Yeah.
what is something that you are currently excited about?
Something that I'm excited about. Well, that's so funny. I'm very excited to not be in debt. I think that that is an underrated thing, but it's like hella important to me this year. Like, and I'm talking about like student loans, like all the things that
Mm-hmm.
I just back of my mind. I'm like, well, there are people in this world that got to start in the world and have their inheritance or all these things, and they start at a different level than people who start with debt. It's time to clear that shit out. I want to be debt free by 30. And I will be. But that's just like one financial excitement that I have. When I think about like art side, I just recently like went through a bunch of these artist calls for like artist mural work for like digital artists here in Canada. And I was like, oh my God, I definitely need to like I want to work on things like that and do more with my art in that way. And then there are the smaller scale ideas that I have that I've been working on that I'm really building out. And I hope that I'm going to give it time. Like a lot of the ideas I have, I'm going to work on them, but I want to give them time and not feel too rushed. But one of them is the Broken Hearted card collection. It came to me um, when I thought about like heartbreak and how there aren't really cards for that. Like if you like fall out with a friend or you get a divorce or there are breakups, like nobody really goes like, hey, like I'm gonna send you a card or send someone a card. You give
Oh,
people cards
like
for their birthdays.
okay, I see what you
Yeah, like
mean.
a
Okay.
card. Yeah, yeah. So you give people cards for their birthdays and holidays, but like there is none for like, oh, like, something like witty that makes someone feel like better about the
Mm-hmm.
shitty situation. So I'm like, I want to make a card collection about that, and kind of incorporate my ether puffs, which are like my little Web3 avatars that I really want to build. And I just recently got my trademark certificate for my ether puffs to like be able
Yo,
to actually, like, I trademarked that shit. So
yo,
that's
okay.
exciting.
Add
That's some real
business
business shit.
mogul. Yo, come on with it. Go ahead, add business mogul to.
I I did that in 2022 and I just got that letter. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I
Wow.
know. It took some years. So it's very
Yo.
exciting to like get back at like really incorporating them in different designs. So I'm incorporating them in my like broken hearted card collection and all of that. So I like, and this is like a low lift idea where these pieces are inexpensive and they're not supposed to be expensive because it's like they're cards, right? And really building out a bunch of them, different like funny little lines, you know, like the Kiki Palmer when she's like, sorry to that man, I don't know that man.
Yeah.
You know what? So like I'm writing like really cute quotes where it's like, sorry to that man, but we do not know that man, girl. Like, let's go to Miami. Some stuff like that
Yeah.
that's like supposed to be like make you feel better about
Mm-hmm.
situations. So that's like one thing I'm working on. And then God knows so many other things. I do UGC now, and I've like actually have reoccurring clients. So I create art for like I have an art UGC deal where I have like a tool, and I basically just create artwork for them for their socials. I also have another one where it's a hair care brand, and I create content for their socials. So it's really just like, okay, how can I spread myself in ways that is efficient for me? I'm not overwhelming myself, but I'm collecting those checks.
Yo, I love that for you. That is like, and for those of if you may not, if you're not familiar with UGC, UGC stands for user generated content. Is that correct? Okay. Okay. Cool. Um. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot to be excited for. And come on with it. Just wins after wins after wins. All 2024. Let's go. Let's
After,
go.
and it's like after losses and losses and losses, and it's just win wins. It's like those feel good, and I'm
Yes.
very excited for them.
That's amazing. I'm excited for you and for all those wins for you. I just have two more
Thank you.
questions here for you, and then we will
Cool.
wrap this up. This has been just so dope. I'm so happy that we were able to make this happen and that you graced us with your presence here. Lizzy, what does culture mean to you?
Culture to me is very like it's funny because I never really think about that term, but when I think about culture I think about like a collective understanding to experiences, to traditions, to in a sense trends. And when I say trends, I'm like at the time it could be trends of fashion, it could be trends of music that is specific to like a generation or some time, an era. So like all of that amalgamation of things, traditions, experience, trends can create a culture.
Mm, okay. Taking all of those different parts and boom.
And then you put it together because again you have experiences that can be had by specifically, let's say, black folks that also experience different trends and fashion and different music and then different experiences at the time, and that is the black culture, right? And there are different subcultures within because there are different experiences within
Mm-hmm.
the black experience. So to me it's really all of those things that would create a cultural movement, and then subcultures from that, and then you have different cultures and different experiences based off of all those different factors. I never really
Wonderful.
thought about that, but I really put that together. Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great answer when you started off saying like, I never really thought about that, and then boom, you cooked. Um,
Just like
yeah, let it flow. I love it. All right, last question here. It's kind of in two parts. How do you define legacy, and what do you want your legacy to be?
Legacy is that documentation of the different phases of someone, something, or yeah, someone or something. It's like the documented phases of that person, place, or thing. And to the end of it, or to the end of that person, or that end era, you get the legacy of them, the documentation of everything they've done, what they've maybe impacted in the world, or how they're what they put out there in the world and how that has impacted other people. That's how I see legacy. And for me, my legacy, I've always said, was that I would love to have my art all around people's houses, but I also would love to impact other young girls that look like me, that either grew up in the same area as me, or have experienced life similar to me, and see themselves within me, and like have the ability to do similar things, like feel like they can see themselves in me, so that they can do those things. Because I never really kind of saw anyone when I was younger that was like, oh, they did tech and they also were an artist. Like I just had to like pave my own way. So I would love for my legacy to like help impact other young girls in that way, to know that, hey, you don't need to listen to every outside noise. You can really just do what you want to do and be successful out of it. I'm still writing the story, so yeah.
I love it. Very well said. Lizzy, where can people connect with you and find your artwork, maybe work with you on some social media strategy, some UGC content? Let us know.
Aha. So I guess for like my art, it's Miss Lizzy Art, MISSLIZZYART. You'll find like my art in those spaces on Twitter and Instagram. And then Bodied Art Form is my like sculpture work, and that's on Instagram only. Instagram and TikTok, my bad. And then me personally, the official person, Miss Lizzy 6, because that's a Toronto thing. Sorry, but you can find me on Instagram as Miss Lizzy 6 with the number 6, and yeah, that's how people can find me. And I think my email's like connected to that. So if there's anyone who ever wants to connect professionally, just shoot me an email. If you can't find it, shoot me a DM.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, Lizzy, this has been incredible. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you all to all of you who joined in and listened via the live stream, especially to everyone who's going to collect this when it hits the blockchain. That is what sets Culture Shift apart, as these episodes are being archived on the blockchain. Not only that, but they're being sold for crypto, and every guest earns a percentage of those sales for being so gracious with their time, energy, and perspective. If you listen to this and are wanting to learn more about crypto art, digital assets, and the blockchain, reach out. Let's connect. There are so many resources, and I would be honored to help you start your journey. This is the Culture Shift with Raven 50mm. Thank you all again. We will catch y'all on the next episode. Stay hydrated. Stay blessed. Peace.